State of the offensive line we got to take a look at. The Packers select Jordan Morgan, the offensive tackle out of Arizona, in the first round of this year's NFL draft. They move on, as Jason mentioned earlier, from the right guard, John Runyon Jr., now a New York Giant. But otherwise, they're pretty comfortable with the starting offensive line they had a year ago, as Sean Ryan and John Runyon were kind of splitting snaps toward the end of the season at right guard. They still have Zach Tom. Well, they will eventually have him back as he deals with an offseason injury. Josh Myers at center, Elton Jenkins at left guard, and the left tackle is TBD, but it sounds like it still could be Rasheed Walker, who played 16 of the 17 regular season games at left tackle last year. But Jordan Morgan could find his way into that spot. I would imagine, unless, Jason, you think they could shake some things up, because Zach Tom is called very versatile. You look at Elton Jenkins, he can play every position. I imagine, though, from left to right, the offensive line will look either Walker or Morgan, Jenkins, Myers, Ryan, Tom. Right?
So there's a couple of wild cards here. I don't think they're going to shake it up by choice. Okay, I don't think they are planning on moving Zach Tom. It doesn't matter what, guys in the building told Domofsky this offseason, which created a bit of a storm, right? That he could be a Pro Bowl tackle, an All-Pro guard, and a Hall of Fame center. I don't think, now, a year from now, could they move him or could they move Elton Jenkins when they probably don't re-sign Josh Myers? Yeah, I can see that. But this year, I don't think so. First of all, they have to get Zach Tom healthy. And we all love Brian Bulaga, who has been a great addition to our team. Mm-hmm. He has said multiple times that coming back from a torn pectoral muscle is not easy when you are doing a job where you are pushing around 300-pound people and you're extending your arms. And so the timeline for Tom and for Tucker Kraft seems optimistic to me. Like the idea that Zach Tom is going to be taking training camp reps, great if it happens. Awesome if it happens. I want him to be healthy enough that he can start on opening day in Brazil, and if he doesn't get enough work in training camp, I'm okay with that. But I don't think that's one of the reasons why I don't think he's going anywhere. I think they do have to figure out what they want to do at left tackle. I think Rasheed Walker goes into camp pretty clearly the guy that it's his job to lose if he plays at that level, because I think in the 5 practices we got to see, Jordan Morgan looks like a rookie. And he doesn't look like the Josh Sitton rookie who came in and you're like, ooh, this guy's pretty good. It's a guy that, hey, this guy's got talent, but it's going to take him some time. Now, could he follow the Mark Tauscher quarterback plan of starting as like Thanksgiving rolls around? Maybe. But I don't think that they feel a pressure to start him. The one guy that I'm curious about, they really like Sean Ryan, but they're not handing him that job. They rotated a lot of guys throughout the time we watched practice. Could Jordan Morgan not win the starting left tackle job and end up as the starting right guard? I wouldn't rule that out either.
Really?
Well, because the one thing they always talk about is the best 5. They want their best starting.
Like our best 3.
Yeah, they want their best starting 5 out there. So whether that ends up being Jordan Morgan, we'll see. I would love to see and be there at camp, Jason, just to see Rasheed Walker, because the one thing in my mind that guy's competitive, right? Mm-hmm. Like he got last year, we just all assumed, Yash Nyman, he's going to start at left tackle.
Right.
Guess who went out and won that job
and competed far better than Yash did, as Adam Stenovich basically told the whole world.
Just stepped up to the podium and let us know. So even though, like, I look at this as Rasheed Walker's not going to look at, they drafted this guy to replace me. They drafted this guy. I'm going to go out there and continue to prove that I deserve to be this left tackle. Mm-hmm. So I would not be shocked if he ended up there. And it's not the end of the world if Morgan does not end up being on the starting offensive line. I think he's going to be there originally. I mean, you take a look at some of these really good offensive linemen that the Packers have drafted, Brian Bulaga being one of them. Bulaga wasn't originally supposed to be a starting offensive
behind
lineman.
That broken down old at the end of the line right tackle that they had playing. I forget its name.
Yeah, it's escaping
me as well. Yeah,
but Mike Tauscher, as I saw the jersey for sale on the internet for.
Mike Tauscher?
Yeah, I just bought it.
Oh,
very excited. Yeah, $12.99.
Very nice.
Oh, wow!
I'm hoping he'll sign it for me, but sign it as Mike.
You think he will?
No.
Okay. Well. But again, so Bulaga wasn't supposed to until Tausch gets hurt.
Right.
Yep.
David Bakhtiari wasn't supposed to be the starting
Brian
left
Bulaga
tackle.
got hurt. He was supposed to be starting left tackle.
So the Packers have had these offensive linemen that have been able to step up, but rarely are they planning for these offensive linemen to be starters from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a good point.
So I'm not going to panic if Jordan Morgan is not in the starting five.
Yeah.
Because guess what? There's going to be an injury at some point.
Exactly.
And he's going to have to step up, and then we're going to see if he's ready.
The Packers are really good at developing offensive linemen. They're really good at it. And I imagine they will be okay this year, no matter who that starting five is. There is one name real quick before we get out of the offensive portion and get to the defense portion of our program. What'd you think of that, Jason?
Yeah.
Gabe?
It's like a C- at best.
And that's from a national radio.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts my feelings. My
If you're gonna go for it, you got to sell it.
Defense.
See, that's better.
Yeah, it's like a B-.
Okay, we'll take it. Andre Dillard, the former first-round pick, the Packers brought him in this offseason. I haven't seen a ton around him. I know you've obviously been at a couple of practices during the offseason program. I imagine he's just a depth piece.
So I actually talked to him the last day that we had access, and I thought it was interesting when I asked Matt LaFleur about him. Matt LaFleur was like, look, you can see the first-round talent. And he added to that, he really fits what we want our tackles to do. And look, I'm not saying that he's going to be this incredible reclamation project that goes from being released by the Eagles and spending 1 year in Tennessee and now suddenly he's an all-pro or a Pro Bowl tackle. But maybe there's a good fit here. And to your point about injuries, the Green Bay Packers in 2014, when they went to the NFC Championship game, they had one starter on the offensive line miss one game. Bulaga missed one game with a knee against, I think, the Jets. And that was the only time in those 16 games plus the playoffs where they didn't start the same five. That never happens. And we know from the last 4 years it never happens in Green Bay. To have a guy who's a first-round pick who has started games in this league, I think there's value there. I think it was Gabe that pointed it out to me when we were talking on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, 7 to 9 every weekday on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. They signed Andre Dillard. Once we found out about Zach Tom's torn pec, it turns out they signed Dillard like 2 days after that injury actually occurred. So they clearly had a reason for signing him. Look, I don't think that he is the savior, but they do not have a clear-cut swing tackle. They don't. Because Rasheed Walker didn't play a whole lot of right tackle last year. That Yosh Nijman, for whatever his faults were, could play both tackle positions. And I think Andre Dillard could fill that void, and that allows you to even further bring Jordan Morgan in slowly.
I think if you're going to give the general manager a compliment, which he's gotten a lot of them over the last few years, he is very good at the low-risk, high-reward moves.
No doubt.
Rasul Douglas probably being the biggest one. But Andre Dillard is a low-risk signing, and he might end up starting some games once injuries pile up over the course of the regular season, and hopefully it goes well. Obviously, we don't know yet, but that could be another one of those low-risk, high-reward moves that pays off for Goody.
But it was, again, and that's something that Goody has been willing to do. It was Jared Vanderheer. What was his last name?
Jared Veldheer.
Veldheer.
Yeah, he started.
Ricky Wagner.
Yeah.
Billy Turner.
Willing to take those, hey, here's a veteran offensive lineman. I'm sure we can find a use for him.
Yeah,
and you're right about the bargain signings. Devondre Campbell was a great bargain signing. He was not a great signing when they gave him a 5-year, $50 million deal. But he was an outstanding bargain signing.